John is a young man living in a quiet coastal town called Clearwater. He is the only son of a veteran fisherman, Mr. Thomas, who has spent his life on the waves, but contrary to his father's expectations, John loves art, books, and dreams far from the shore. He does not want to follow in his father's footsteps, nor does he want to be tied down to simple, small boats. One day, after a fierce argument with his father about the future, John leaves home, determined to prove that he can find his own shore. With a little savings, he buys an old wooden boat, once owned by an old sailor who can no longer row, and leaves town in silence, heading out to sea. Not knowing where to go, he just goes. John believes that if he leaves the old place, the world will open up a new path for him. The sea is truly different from what John imagined. The first few days, the sea was calm and the sky was blue. John felt like he was living in a wonderful free music. But then, the weather changed. Strong winds, high waves, and thick fog covered everything around. With no experience in navigation, John did not know how to navigate. He drifted, lost his direction. The following days became dark and full of fear. Food ran out. No one could see the signal lights. He was alone on a vast ocean, no longer knowing where the shore was. In the darkness, he began to ask himself, "Where am I going? What do I really want?" Those questions had no answers. The sea only returned the sound of waves like a whisper of his heart. After nearly a week of drifting aimlessly, the boat drifted to a small island without a name on the map. John was exhausted, almost fainted before being rescued by a strange man. That man's name was Elias, a hermit who had lived in seclusion on the island for nearly 10 years. No one knew why he left the world, but his eyes were deep, as if they had seen many storms. Elias helped John recover, shared food and water, then smiled and said, "Maybe the sea didn't make you lost, but brought you here for a reason." John smiled faintly. "I don't believe in fate," Elias replied. "You don't need to believe. Just listen to yourself long enough. You will see that you are on the right path, even if the path is winding." In the following days, John and Elias gardened, fished, and talked by the fire. In the silence of the deserted island, John began to look back at himself. John told Elias about life in Clearwater, about his father, and about his dream of leaving the sea to find something bigger. Elias just smiled slightly and said, "The sea is not just a place to fish. It is also a place to challenge, train, and reflect on one's inner self." John had never thought of it that way. For him, the sea was just a place of bondage, a past he wanted to leave behind. But now, after living on the island, feeling every wind, every sound of the waves at night, he saw the sea as a silent teacher, teaching him lessons through loneliness and confusion. Elias added, "Sometimes our boat has to drift away from its intended course, so that we can learn to read the wind, look at the stars, and listen to our hearts. Not every shore is on the map." John felt those words like a wind blowing into his troubled soul. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight hit the palm trees on the island, Elias led John to the shore and pointed to the wooden boat being repaired. Elias had quietly helped John prepare for the return journey. John hesitated. "I don't know if I'm ready. I'm not sure where I'm going yet." Elias put his hand on his shoulder. "Don't be sure. Just be honest. You don't have to know all the answers. Just set the sail in the direction you think is right." John understood. Even though he didn't know exactly where he was going, he was no longer afraid of getting lost, because every step was part of the journey, and every drift was a lesson learned about himself. He said goodbye to Elias promising to return someday. Elias just smiled, saying nothing, as if he was used to parting and returning in life. The journey back was not easy, but John was no longer as frightened as before. He learned to observe the sky, listen to the waves, and most of all, listen to himself. After many days, he finally saw the familiar golden sand of Clearwater appear in the distance. The people were surprised to see him return. Mr. Thomas stood silently on the dock, not saying a word, just looking at John with red eyes. John hugged his father tightly. There was no more anger, no more distance. He said, "I didn't go the wrong way, Dad. I just needed to get lost to know what I wanted." That night, he looked out to sea from the lighthouse. The waves still crashed. The wind still blew. But in his heart, there was a peace he had never known. The journey continues. John did not return to being a fisherman like his father, but he also did not leave the sea. He opened a class to teach drawing and writing to the children in the village, children who had only known the sea as a profession. He told them the story of the island, of the man named Elias, and of his drifting boat. The children asked, "Are you still afraid of getting lost?" John smiled. "Yes, but now I know. Getting lost is not losing. Getting lost is learning to find yourself again. Sometimes, getting lost is the way to finding your true destination. Life does not always have a clear compass. There are times when we find ourselves adrift, not knowing where to go. But it is those drifting times that help us understand more about ourselves, about what we truly need and cherish. Don't be afraid of getting lost. Be brave enough to set out, because every journey leads to a destination in our hearts.